The movie I'm going to be looking at today is The Woodsman. So the main characters were Walter and Vicky. Those are the two that were really revolved around the movie, and their connection is that they first work together and they develop an intimate relationship after. Um, we sort of recognize that Walter's normal and stable for the most part because we see him get a new job. We see him perform well around other people, um, and there's nothing really sticking out that there's anything that he did wrong or that he can't function in society. Um, Walter wants to feel normal again, and especially around younger children, and just to feel like he belongs in society and he doesn't have to um, stay away from certain people. Um, the traumatic scene that makes him deviant, um, I would say, would be um, molesting the younger girls that we don't see in the film, but getting him sent to prison, that would probably be what I consider the deviant act. Um, and the mindset really is he's embarrassed. Um, it's not something that he necessarily wants to see um, uh, people making judgments about him, but he feels shut out and also quite depressed just because he's not sure that it can go back necessarily to the way his life used to be. The crime that he committed, I would assume, is statutory rape, anyone under the age of 13. Um, and then a TED Talk by Adine Burke Harris touched on some of the things that happen to the brain when they go through trauma for primarily young children. Um, nucleus the nucleus accumbens is affected, and that really is the as well as the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. Um, and these are all parts that are still developing, obviously, as young children. And if they get damaged enough, that carries into depression or suicide, and I would say that there are of more of social issues that would come by, um, especially when you are not capable of talking about what you're going through. That can lead to it progressing, getting worse. Um, Question 8 is, who are the victims? Obviously, the young children who were a part of the incident, and also Walter's sister, you could say, was part of that. Now, being that he was 6 years old, I don't know if that is a deviant act because he didn't quite know what he was doing. But I would say that she's sort of a victim still. Um, we don't really see any of the victims depicted in any way, and obviously they're not deserving. No one's deserving of that. um, and I would assume that um, he could stop himself. He wasn't after picking up his new job. He wasn't out trying to repeat his offenses. He was trying to get back on path. He was trying to establish um, a new life where he can function in society around other people. Um, Other emotional disturbances, there were stressors about fitting into society, um, and dealing with adversity. It's hard to convince people after a situation like that you are capable to be around, um, especially young children, and not have people judge you for it. It's hard to combat. Courses of action, I would assume, um, some, or at least for young kids, um, youth wellness programs, when they get evaluated for checkups, they can also see if they have any signs of traumatic stress in their home life. And then any further screenings. And in Walter's case, I would think the therapy, what he was doing is the smart decision. If they had caught it a little bit sooner, I think they could have addressed it and worked on it so it didn't lead to any instances with younger girls. But I think he had the right idea by going to therapy in the first place.